I'm going to share a little bit about consumers' energy and what we do believe and why energy efficiency is so fundamental to our future and to protecting the planet. First of all, we live by what we call our triple bottom line: people, planet, and prosperity, as Marty mentioned. And people obviously has very special meaning to us. When I say people, I'm talking about our customers for sure, but I'm also talking about our coworkers and the communities that we serve. And so, in the pursuit of our clean energy transition, I don't ever forget about my coworkers, and I don't want you to forget about them either. I remember, it's not hard to remember, I'll never forget, the last day of operation at one of our plants in Luna Pier, Michigan, our whiting plant. When we've retired 7 of our 12 coal plants already, and it was one of our units. And so I got a text the night before with a picture of the last coal train to be delivered to that plant. And people thought the person who sent it to me had an idea that maybe I would care about that, and I did. And so I hustled down to Monroe for that meeting, to meet with the team at the plant. And I remember being in the cafeteria with all of my coworkers, about 70 people, on the last day of operation at that site. And I asked them how many, first of all, I will say, I didn't know what state of mind they would be in. Were they going to be mad? Would they be picketing or something? You know, like, what was I going to find when I got there? They were not mad, they were proud. I will tell you, that plant was finishing its run, and it is now in the history books of one of the top 10 longest runs of any power plant in the United States in the history of power generation. That unit was on its longest run ever and is now in the history books in the top 10 longest runs ever. They went out total winners. But I asked them, how many of you are retiring tomorrow? And about half the room raised their hand. And I remember being surprised about that. And it occurred to me that those people had organized their lives around that day. And that many of them actually delayed their retirement so that they could fulfill their duty in delivering energy to the people of Michigan that they had done for their whole careers. The other half all had jobs somewhere else in the company, and I am so proud of that fact. We are not abandoning my coworkers in this transition. We actually don't have to. We have so many demands for people and talent and capability, especially dedicated people who love our company. And those other people in that room were all going to take on new skills, new challenges, new opportunities, and they were excited. Some of them were nervous, about their new roles, but that's our commitment. As we make the transition, I never want to forget that there are people's lives and careers that they've dedicated themselves to, and we're going to honor them during this transition too. And I'll also say that local communities where those plants are, we've also made a commitment to them. So we did a national search for both a decommissioning and redevelopment firm to come and not just take the plant down. First of all, we definitely weren't going to leave a hulking remnant of what used to be. We wanted to make sure that we took those plants down and created a new economic opportunity for that local community, because that had been a big tax base for that community. It funded the local schools. We can't forget that. And so I'm so proud of the fact that we found this firm. They're doing the decommissioning. In fact, at those remaining 7 units, they're almost complete in the decommissioning work. And they have so many great opportunities for those communities. They've got choices of what they can do. In fact, I got a letter from the mayor of Luna Pier, and he said, you know what, Patty, you promised that you wouldn't abandon us, and you haven't. And we're so thankful that you kept your promise, and we're excited about the potential for this site. And so there are ways to make this clean energy transition that are additive, that are extraordinary, and this is what we mean. So when we say the triple bottom line, it's just not a slogan. We actually literally think about and ask ourselves, what would a company who lived by a triple bottom line do in this scenario? And so in this scenario, we cared for our coworkers, we cared for our communities, and our customers certainly are better off. Now, our commitment to the planet, it runs very deep. And we have really pushed ourselves as a company to be leaders in this area. We believe that climate change is happening. We believe as an energy company, and particularly an energy producer, we have an obligation to take actions to thwart the effects of climate change and to prevent that 2-degree scenario from materializing. So, thank you. That's not necessarily heroic, but, in the world, I'd like to think that we can be leaders and push, and it can be heroic because it actually does make a difference. It's funny, I watched the climate strike, and it's not funny. It's not funny, but the climate strike, I said to myself, I wanted to tweet a message, and my team, boycotted my, so they're like, you cannot tweet that. But I wanted to say, no time for a strike, get to work, and let's fix this. We got work to do. There's no time to stand on the sidelines and hope and holler and think that somebody else is going to do something about this. And that's why I applaud all of you. All of you are doing something about this. All of you are taking your God-given talents, skills, and capabilities to absolutely work together to save the planet. And I'm so proud of all of you, and I'm certainly proud of my team who works every day. And some of them, like Ted Yackelroth, who survived that memo and lived to tell another day. And it's part of the reason why we are leading an energy transformation about which we can be proud. So just a couple quick stats about our energy plan in Michigan. Number one, as I've mentioned, we've already reduced our carbon emissions by 38% through the retirement of those plants. We have committed to, by 2040, eliminating coal as a fuel source. Most of it will be eliminated by 2030, which 2030 is 2 decades ahead of the Paris Climate Accord. We feel good about that. We're transitioning to all new renewables. The remaining plants that will be closed will be replaced only with new renewables and a huge emphasis on DSM. And I'm going to show you how both of those things go together. I call it our clean and lean energy future. And as an industrial engineer, I think this is how I put my skills to work. I'll show you the waste that exists in our system and how it combined with new renewables is the secret to a clean and lean energy future. We believe that that combination of our clean energy plan, our commitment to people, really does create and lead to prosperity for the citizens that we serve. We are Long, Michigan. We are all about it. And we love our winters there too. We love the 4 seasons. We love our Great Lakes. And we are committed to making sure that we leave Michigan better than we found it. We're committed to the prosperity of our families, our farms, our factories, the people who live and work there. We feel dedicated to those people. We literally serve our friends, our families, and our neighbors. Myself specifically, I serve my sister who lives next door, my dad who lives next door to her. I get a lot of customer feedback about our bills or whatever, I hear all about it. My mother-in-law just moved down the road, 3 doors down. So we got the family, and there's no doubt that we don't lose sight of the people that we serve. Everywhere I go in the state, it's so funny. I'll see our crews or I'll see some people, and when I see a crew out on the road, I pull over. I come out, put my hard hat on, pull it out of my trunk there, and just all like, oh. What do you got, Patty? What do you want to talk about? And so it's just, we're one of the largest utilities in the country, but it is very hometown. In fact, our purpose is world-class performance, delivering hometown service. And that hometown service really means that we stand for the prosperity of the people that we serve, because we only win as a company when they are winning. When the people that we serve are prospering, our company prospers. Those two things go 100% together. Okay, let's get into the weeds, shall we? Let's talk about the change in the energy landscape and the role that you all play and we play. Just quickly, this is the clean part of the clean and lean message. The clean part says, in the olden days, when post-World War II, think about it, energy demand was going through the roof. right? We were, for the first time, installing electric appliances. We were installing electric motors in factories. Demand for electricity was through the roof, electrifying our rural communities. We couldn't build power plants fast enough. And frankly, coal was one of the only affordable resources that could fuel that economy at that time. However, if we continued with that same mindset today, the retirement of our coal plants, and thought about it as just replacing like for like, or in fact bigger for like, because we assume demand is going up, we would be making a huge generational, like for the next generation, error. We believe that we can do more modular renewables. People ask me this question all the time, isn't it more expensive? And I think, oh my gosh, we taught them that actually, it's my fault. We did such a good job on that message. Now I have to unwind it. You know, we have, at one time, we kind of had a sucker's choice. Clean and expensive or cheap and dirty, which one do you want? Like, that's just not true anymore. Don't let anyone tell you. It's just not true. The math does not hold there anymore. And this is why. Because demand, for the first time, now is flat to declining because of the great work we're doing. And I'm going to show you why that matters. So let's say demand is flat to declining. If you replace like for like, then you're going to overbuild and have stranded assets, stranded resources that people don't need, and you don't have to build at that scale. Renewables on a unit basis, the unit cost, you could argue a natural gas plant per unit is cheaper than a solar panel with a storage capability. But what if you don't need 1,000 megawatts? Because that's the minimum size of that unit cost you're going to get for that gas plant. What if you don't need 1,000 megawatts? What if we all do our jobs really well and we need less than that? Then modular additions of renewables is the perfect no big bet decision for our customers. It's a perfect match. And so that's why we believe that it is lower risk, lower fuel cost, and I think Ben Folk and the Excel team here, where's the Excel team in the house? Yeah, I love you guys. The Excel team, oh, there they are. The Excel team has done a great job on the Steel for Fuel message. That's what this says. This is the same thing as the Steel for Fuel message. You can replace a coal plant with clean renewables, with lower fuel costs, lower risk, lower total cost, and still thrive as a company. You can still thrill your investors. I can still thrill my investors with our clean and lean energy model built off the Excel Steel for Fuel. It's brilliant. And I love that that happened because it really has changed the conversation about the replacement strategy for these retiring coal plants. And again, it is the opportunity of a generation to decide how we're going to replace those plants right now. But here's where I'm going to completely geek out with you. Now, sometimes I have to rush through this slide. You know, my team's like, Patty, you cannot have that slide in here. I know, but you are going to love this slide. So I'm going to linger on this slide because we're going to spend some time here. So first of all, this is Michigan. This is Consumers Energy's demand for electricity. January to December, the white bars. Now, I want you to notice a couple things. The yellow line is our average demand. That's 4,200 megawatts, about 4,000, 4,200 average megawatts, almost 75% of the time. Now, look at what happens in June and July and August in Michigan. And that's, everybody's load curve looks a little different, but this is ours in Michigan, so it's particularly distinct. We have a handful of days, literally about 20 hours a year, where our demand almost doubles. Almost doubles because of residential air conditioning. This is when my industrial engineering engine just gets fired up. Like, that is a problem because, let me tell you, look at so the red line just points about peak demand. But if I added one more line to this chart, it would be, what would happen if we turned on all of our power plants at Consumers Energy, all of our power generating assets, if they were all running, we'd have 8,300, not even on the chart, it's like off the chart, 8,300 megawatts of supply. And why is that? Because MISO requires a reserve margin for your peak day, yada yada. Okay, all right, what if our peak was lower? Would I need 8,300 megawatts anymore? No. We have truly the opportunity of a lifetime. We can reduce that peak in two ways. Demand response, obviously, and I'm pretty geeked about that, so I am going to spend a minute on that, but also the role that energy efficiency plays. I'm going to show you a chart in a second. We have prevented building a power plant in Michigan because of our energy efficiency programs. 1,000 megawatts. Prevented the building of a plant because of our energy efficiency programs and saved Michigan customers $2.5 billion in energy costs at the same time. It's fantastic. Energy efficiency. I have a very cool story to tell you. We have a customer, Boyne Mountain. We'll do a little Chamber of Commerce ad here. There's a ski hill in Michigan. But it's pretty good. It's hard to compare it to real ski hills. But a lot of people in Michigan, we do have snow, and it's a beautiful place, and people go up to Boyne Mountain. Boyne Mountain actually owns 7 ski resorts around the country, in Vermont and Big Sky in Montana. They're a world-class operation. And they do the best they can with the terrain in Michigan. But they asked us, they had a commitment. Their CEO and I become really good friends. And they have a commitment to a net zero by 2030. So they came to us. And they said, we think we should be installing renewable energy. We want to put in solar panels. We want to go net zero. I said, okay, all right, that's cool. We're going to help you write your plan. And so our team sat with them, and they wrote their net zero 2030 plan. And their CEO saw me at a meeting. He's like, Patty, I have to talk to you about something. It's very important. I said, okay. I said, I hear you're gonna go present in October in Utah to all your peers. You ready? He's like, well, here's the problem. We studied, we built the plan, we wrote the plan, and we spend $100,000 a year on energy. And he said, I think we actually need to start by reducing our use. I said, it's more economic. I said, great. He goes, really? I go, yes. He goes, you're not mad about that? No, I'm not mad about that. Like, he thought I was going to be upset that they were going to use less of our product. He's like, oh my gosh, we did the math. It's so economic to reduce our usage, and we've got all these opportunities we haven't employed yet. And listen, team, it is the leader. It is the thing that people should start with. People ask me all the time, should I be putting solar panels on my roof? I'll tell you, my father's 89. He has a nurse who comes to his house. And his nurse said to me one day, Patty, I want to do my part. Should I put solar panels on my roof? I'm like, no. Use less energy. Call us. Let us come do a home audit with you, because we can shape this curve before we have to build something. So this is why this is so important. This picture is so dependent on our commitment to first reduce our usage. We've doubled the size of our energy efficiency program now in Michigan. I was just talking to Ted, and I see Fred there smiling at me. They're like, nice, Patty. We're doubling the program as part of our integrated resource plan. We want 2% annual energy efficiency savings from electricity every year. And my board chair and former CEO always reminds me that's more than 100% of your growth. I say, oh well, because of this. Because if we can reduce our usage while we are retiring plants, we can fundamentally, and we have this time right now, it could not be more urgent. We can reduce the number of power plants we have to build. Let me show you. So first of all, you saw the energy mix slide earlier today. Let me just tell you about our energy mix. So the far left column is our current energy mix today. Renewables, we've got a little bit of coal left. We're working on that. Natural gas, we have a big natural gas purchase power agreement, and you can see as we go forward, we reduce that and eliminate it. We have some nuclear energy that's going away, and energy storage, which is our Ludington pump storage plant, which is one of my favorite places in the world, and I'm happy to, tell you all about that. And also a little bit of peaking capacity. But look at the top there, 10% customer efficiency programs. That's what we've achieved since 2008. That has prevented the need to add a plant, and in fact, when that nuclear plant goes away, you can see by 2030, it actually goes away in 2022. When that plant closes, the Palisades plant, we will not have to replace it with anything because of the energy efficiency programs that we have been running and the capacity that they have provided over time. That is amazing. That is amazing. Look at 2030 then. You can see that we've dramatically increased in our renewables. So we've decided that the best additional renewables, we've got wind today, but to replace those remaining plants as we close them, we're going to add 5,000 megawatts of solar by 2030 and an additional 1,000 megawatts by 2040. Now some people do say to me, Patty, do you live in Michigan? Yes, and again, we did a great job that because of the Great Lakes, the cloud cover in Michigan makes solar not viable, yada yada. We convinced a lot of people about that. So now I have to unconvince them. Solar actually matches our demand. I showed you, on those hot summer days, those 20 hours a year, guess what's happening? The sun is shining. It's a perfect resource match. So solar, combined with energy efficiency in our DSM programs, are pretty exciting. Now, I'm actually doing a statewide tour. I'm getting in front of every group, every Rotary Club, every Chamber of Commerce, every student group, anywhere I can go. I feel like I'm running for office. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just trying to get people to pay attention to this little blue bar. This little blue bar, kind of unassuming there at the top of that stack. Everybody's excited about the solar. They all want to talk about that. I said, but guess what? In the past, this 2019 bar on the left, we could do most of that by ourselves. You know, we needed a little help on this energy efficiency program, and that was important. We had some level of engagement with customers. To do the 2030 mix, we need a lot of help from our customers. We need a level of engagement that we have never had before. We need this room to activate the people of America to have an awareness of the potential of energy waste elimination that they've never had before. People can win. I tell them the cleanest and the cheapest kilowatt is the one we never use. I know you all use that phrase, so that's old school, but I use it all the time, and people laugh and they think, oh, that's so interesting. No, seriously. Like, sign up for the darn programs. Like, why hasn't somebody come out to your house and helped you re-insulate? Why hasn't somebody come out to your house and helped you upgrade your appliances? We've got incentives, we'll help you with that. Get that refrigerator out of your garage, for crying out loud. I finally got my father's out of his garage. That was a whole thing, I'm telling you. But the team did a very good job of that. I said, please, don't look in it. I'm like, please, get it out. I'll come clean it at the place. But he said, yes, don't waste any time. So this whole idea, though, that we need people to come together to deliver that top blue bar, that top blue bar is 2 power plants. The blue bar extended over to 2040 is 3 power plants. And people say, close your coal plants faster. Are you crazy? If I closed them faster, I would have to build those plants today. We actually need the time to implement demand savings. We have got to reduce people's energy waste all across our system, and we can. But that is what is required to actually prevent building 3 new power plants in Michigan. That is the challenge. That is the opportunity. This is what we're pitching. We were asking everyone in Michigan to join the movement. You guys are part of the movement. You're leading the movement. I get that. I'm singing to the choir here. But this is real. This is not theoretical. This is not sort of a fun pitch. This is the truth. These are the real numbers right now that make up our integrated resource plan. But we can't do it by ourselves. We need more innovation, more technology, more implementation, more savings. We just got to keep pushing, 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 and helping people eliminate that waste so that someday, I imagine being in the garden with one of my granddaughter, I always say, because my whole family's full of girls. I'm 7 sisters and 8 granddaughters, so I assume it's going to be a girl. And I'm going to be in that garden with that sweet pea, and she's going to look up at me, and long after people even remember I ever worked for consumers, And and she's gonna say to me, you know, Grandma, what's climate change? And I'm gonna be able to look at her and say, because of the great people at Consumers Energy and in Michigan, it's something that we used to worry about. That is our opportunity. That is our potential. This is what you are doing is not an exaggeration to say that you are saving this planet for future generations. Please, work harder, go faster, do more. And the consumers team, you already know, you got that marching order a little while ago. We're gonna make this happen. This is our potential. The generation is great that plants trees whose shade they will never know. Amen. Amen. With that, I'd love to open the floor and do a little Q&A.